Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well. It's another really quite nice morning today here in the south of England. Really quite cold, a little bit cloudy, but it's a really lovely day. So yeah, I'm in a pretty good mood right now. It's been a very full on week this week. Just work's been a lot to deal with. It's meant that I've been so exhausted that I've been falling asleep early, which means that my body's gone, right, you've had your allocated number of hours of sleep, get the hell up. So I'm up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, not able to sleep and such. Just my sleep pattern's been completely off since the storm that happened a couple of weeks ago, and I've been slowly getting it back on track. And then this week it's just gone, because I've been exhausting myself with work, it's just gone completely out of whack. So oh fun. But I've only got one more week to go until I'm done for Christmas at work. I've also put my Christmas decorations. You can see a little bit of tinsel up on my mirror in the shot, but all around me I see lots of decorations and such that are up, and yeah, I've just been getting on with life. Christmas shopping is all done. I've wrapped all them, and I'm going to my mum and dad's for Christmas, so I am sorted for Christmas now, apart from work, which sounds absolutely mental, but there it is. Anyway, during the chaos of my weird sleeping pattern and crazy work and constantly feeling exhausted, I have been reading The Moth by Catherine Cookson, which I'm here to talk about. I've had to be very careful with this copy because it was only until I opened it that I realised that this is so old that it's actually completely, the glue has completely hardened and come unstuck from the cover. So I'm like, oh my god, this is, I think, the third Catherine Cookson book I've gotten where it's like nearly falling apart, and I absolutely love it. So I've been very careful with reading this this week. So what is The Moth about? The Moth is about a guy called Robert Bradley who lives in Jarrow in the northeast of England, where like every one of Catherine Cookson books is set. This time we're in 1913. He worked in a shipyard in Jarrow, and when his father dies, he moves to live with his aunt, uncle, and cousin, and work in his uncle's shop, his carpentry shop. And whilst he is there in Durham, while he is there, he has this weird encounter with this otherworldly girl, not during the night, but late evening, and her name is Millie, and he's really intrigued by her, and he comes to get to know her and her sister. During the course of events of this book, though, the cousin that he moved in, because he moved in with his aunt, uncle, and cousin, becomes pregnant and claims that he is the father of her child. And so all of this stuff is going on as he's learning to a shift in his career, to fall in love, and and how scandals and such get attached to people, and lots of other things happen as well. So that is the gist of The Moth. And the reason why it's called The Moth is that Millie, because she is this otherworldly kind of creature, as everyone where she lives describes her as, she has gained the nickname The Moth. So that's why it's called The Moth. So, as I said, I have had a really funny week this week because of my sleep pattern being off, falling asleep in the dark, waking up in the dark, still got hours before I start work kind of situation. It's not been good this week with my sleep. So because of that, I've had a weird reading pattern as well, because obviously if I'm too tired to kind of read after work, or at least I'll read for a bit and then find, no, I can't carry on, I need to lie down, have sleep, or just do something different. I found myself reading more in my lunch breaks and before I go to work, especially if I'm up at like 3 o'clock in the bloody morning. So because I've had a pretty crazy week and a pretty crazy reading pattern, I think I had issues with this book. I definitely want to read it again to see if my theory is correct. But yeah, it's one of these books where I enjoyed it. It's a really good story, really well written. Love the characters, love the setting, love the story. It's Catherine Cookson. I love Catherine Cookson. You know I'm gonna love it. But saying that, I didn't get along with the rag nymph too well. That I had sections of this book where I just felt so comfortable. I was just like, it's like putting on like warm slippers or something in this cold weather. Just, it felt so good and cozy and lovely. And then other sections, I just found it so difficult to read. That, yeah, I honestly, I think it's because of my weird week. I really do that this has happened. But I don't know, maybe other people who've read this book might have felt the same thing, and therefore I'm actually just responding to the structure of this book instead. So, as mentioned, you know, we follow Robert as he moves about, and we have these very ethereal kind of sections to it because of things that he encounters, which makes me think so much of Wilkie Collins' The Woman in White. Very, very much, especially that first encounter with the Moth. If you've read The Woman in White, you know what I mean, with that first encounter. And this is like, it is Catherine Cookson's version of The Woman in White. It really is, that especially that first encounter chapter. But yeah, there was something that felt a bit different, or at least when I was reading it with my weird week. There were parts of it that felt rather heavy. And I don't mean heavy as in, oh, we're in a dark part of story, because to be honest, compared to some of the stuff that I have read of Catherine Cookson's, this is a light story. This is a really light story in comparison. So it should have been that I'd be able to, you know, flow through it fine. What I mean by heavy is that, I mean, it felt a bit bogged down, that there were sections that I felt were kind of like overly described. There were sections where I felt she's in a way putting a bit of a stopper here rather than having the usual flow that I like. But I did wonder also, because this is with Robert, with his story, that his story only really starts with the death of his father, and then he moves to Durham and various events happen, that it feels like that because of the things that he comes up against, they are things that are stopping him. They are forcing him to have to deal with all of this crap that's going on. But yeah, he cannot possibly go forward. He can't leave this situation, because wherever he goes, people will know his name, and therefore, you know, the reputation thing that follows you through society, through time and everything, also will happen with him. So I did wonder at the same time, is this a deliberate thing that Catherine is doing in order to reflect what Robert is going through for the reader? That she's literally forcing the reader, no, I'm going to break my convention. I'm going to do something different. I want you to feel the strain and pain and such that Robert is going through because of someone else's lie, in a way that I've never done before. And if that is the case, then bravo to Catherine for doing that. She has experimented with other things previously in books that I've read of hers that I've talked about on this channel before. But yeah, it felt quite jarring. And as I said, because I've had this really funny week, and it could have been just like my bleary-eyed kind of exhausted state of mind. I was like, what the hell is this? Doesn't feel, I don't like this. But it didn't diminish my overall enjoyment of the book. I still carried on reading through, and it does have a satisfying conclusion to it. This is the thing with, that is something I need to say. I love the fact that with this, we have got a leading man who is of a different age than what I've previously read. Now, leading men stories, okay, so we've had The Gambling Man, where our leading guy was about, I think, 30. And we had The Man Who Cried, where he's in his like 40s. Yes, you could say, the Malin trilogy and such, we have had leading guy leading men through it, but that is a trilogy where we're showing multiple generations over a series of time, so it isn't one significant, just one individual that we're following. So I'm going to discard the Malin trilogy here. And there's the Cinderpath. The Cinderpath, our leading guy, he's about, 15 at the beginning of the book, and it goes through into his early 20s. So maybe I'm a little wrong there, because I think Robert, it's never officially said, but I think Robert is about 18 when the book begins. So perhaps the Cinderpath he's slightly younger, but it's one of those things where she does a time jump and it very quickly it moves to like 18. So let's say, he's one of the youngest male protagonists of book that I've read so far. I really liked that, because, as mentioned with her other previous leading men, they had already seen the world, they already knew things, they already had reputations that they were running away from, etc. Whereas with this, it feels like, no, this is the beginning of it. This is where we're going to take you on this journey. I mean, I just thought Dinner of Herbs, actually, golden trio of Dinner of Herbs. Two of them are guys, and technically the story begins when they're about 9 years old. So does that count? Does it count? I suppose it kind of does. Okay, so he's one of the youngest male protagonists that she has written in her books. But yeah, I like the fact that also, not only is he one of the youngest, he is one of a lower class. He's one of the working class, even though, okay, her other male protagonists have been working class as well, because they are older and such. They have some form of wealth that they have. And yeah, the Malin trilogy, they're just, rich. So there you go. Whereas, like, if you look at like the Cinderpath, Dinner of Herbs, and the Moth, it's very much starting out at the beginning of adulthood in working class and learning about the world. Robert is really quite naive to various things, but there's a lot of stuff that he's not. He knows very much what values mean, what goodness means, what a pound means. But yeah, he is also highly, highly naive. And he goes through a lot in this book that could really break people. Really, really could. And he doesn't. He fights through it. And it leads to a really nice, satisfying conclusion in the end. So overall, even though because I've had a really funny week, it kind of jarred me a bit reading this book. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I think it's like one of my favorite Catherine Cookson stories. I mean, not like right at the top. It's not like Malin trilogy, Dinner of Herbs level, but it's, maybe about, maybe about fifth or something. Because yeah, it does remind me a lot of The Woman in White. It reminds me of other kind of like classic stories with the various, you know, events that play out. But also there's something very timeless about it. It's like you're in a time capsule with this one. It just feels like its own special thing. And I can't find a better way to describe it. But it feels like a time capsule. And I'd love to go back to it again and again and again. Just when I'm not so exhausted. So yeah, it just yeah. Okay, I can't think of anything else to say about the Moth right now because yeah, I'm feeling a little tired, as you can imagine. So let's ask my usual questions. Would I read this again? Yes, but when I'm not so exhausted. Would I recommend this to anyone? Yeah, I definitely would. There's nothing too what's the word? I can't think of the word. Too severe in this book compared to other events that happen in other Catherine Cookson books. But there is something just very special about it. So yeah, I definitely recommend this to anyone. Would I read any more Catherine's works? Well, yes, of course. And my next read is actually one of her other works. So yeah, I definitely would. I completely forgot about the drama. What am I like? There is a drama of this because I've got the Catherine Cookson drama collection. I would have brought my DVD box into shop to show you, but I don't have it to hand because I forgot because I'm so tired. But there is a drama of it with Jack Davenport playing Robert. And I can't for the life of me remember who else is in the drama, but I enjoyed The Moth. I thought it was a really, really good drama. The drama was my first encounter with the story, and I very vividly remember the imagery of Robert's first encounter with Millie. And yeah, because straight away I was like, woman in white, woman in white. It's so like it. But yeah, it's a decently put together drama. I really like Jack Davenport in it, I have to say. Very, very young. I think it's the earliest piece of work that he did that I have seen him in. So yeah, it was very good viewing. So if you're able to watch it, do. And if I'm able to find a trailer or a clip or anything here on YouTube, I will include it in the description. So there we go. So that was The Moth by Catherine Cookson. Have you read this? I'd love to know what you think. Leave me a comment in the comments box below, or thumbs up, thumbs down, entirely to you like you decide. And I'll be back with my thoughts on my next read, which is The Black Velvet Gown by Catherine Cookson. The Black Velvet Gown is a funny one because I really wasn't that fond of the story at all from the drama, but then I don't know if that's just because I didn't get along with the drama. So let's read the book and find out. All right then, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Bye.